Evening, everybody. Welcome to SAFRL Tier 1 on a Monday night. It's round 3 of Season 6. And we are at the circuit Paul Ricard. The circuit obviously no longer on the actual F1 calendar. And the first one out at the French Grand Prix is going to be the French manufacturer and winner of round 2, Wies. Welcome to everyone who's watching already. Quite a busy stream very early on. So thanks for all the support on the stream. In the comment section already we've got Tian, we've got Etienne, we've got Tiago, we've got Sean. Pantry Star as well. Nice to see this many people on the stream so early on. Early stages of qualifying. Nobody's set a lap time just yet. We do have a handful of cars on outlap, so that will change shortly. Just 18 minutes. No full quali session, just a short quali session. So 18 minutes for 20 competitors to get around here and put in lap times that they will be happy with. Qualifying so far in Season 6 has been quite important because the winner of round 1, Don Rabico, winner of round 2, Wies, also happened to be the pole sitters in both those rounds. So in round 1 and in round 2, the pole sitter went on to win the race. Andre also joining the chat. Welcome, Andre. Fantastic to see a full grid here tonight. We'll ride with Wies. Remember, he was the first car out. Pole sitter from round 2, race winner from round 2. Hopefully my commentator's curse does not carry on into round 3. I almost single-handedly destroyed the McLaren team last week. We ride now on board with Wies. So easy to abuse track limits on this track. Unlike other most modern F1 circuits which have a average width that is pretty similar throughout the racetrack, that is not the case in France. Widest part of the track, 15 meters. Most narrow part of the track, just 7. Wies goes over the line. It's the first lap time of the evening. It's a 128.9, and I'm sure those laps are going to come down even more. Simps, second man over the line, 129.3. 4 tenths between the top two. Hello to Skull. Also, welcome to Death Queen. Busy comment section, trying to comment on the race and not ignore the comment section. I'll do my best. Here's one of the Red Bull drivers. It's Midas. Another fact for everyone watching, for everyone listening, is that qualifying in round 1 and qualifying in round 2, on both occasions, the front row was split by just 0.08 of a second. And between those 2 front rows, we had 4 different drivers. Very close field at the top. But qualifying is one thing, bringing that car home in one piece is quite the other. The Alpines cover that front row, 0.03 of a second between the two of them. Of course, Alpine lead the Constructors' Championship, but only by 6 points. As far as the Drivers' Championship, this is the man leading currently. He's coming into the pits without setting a lap time. That suggests he was either very unhappy with the lap time or he invalidated it. But Don Rabico, your championship leader, leads by 10 points. Not a massive lead, but a nice advantage to have early on in the season. He's come into the pits early without setting a lap time. When the first run doesn't go right, in a short quali like this, it can put you on the back step, on the back foot rather, almost immediately. Got to rush to get back out there. And you'll always have in the back of your mind where you messed up the previous lap. And you've got to make sure that when you go through that section second time round, it doesn't... Basically, you don't lift off where you crashed before. Two Alpines both back into the pits after their initial runs. Remember, they're covering the front row. They are the constructors' leaders in round 6. Got a very, very busy comment section, but absolutely no predictions from anyone just yet. Can I have some predictions? What's your predictions? Top 3, pole position. What's your predictions? And give me a time. And if you're brave enough, give me a name too. You've got a Williams there off. That's Buffelsfontein, I believe. I got a message at the wrong time and I missed that. Mango's gone fastest. It's a 28.6. Well, we're getting some predictions here. Some very different predictions. Got 2 predictions. The one is a 28.5 for pole, which would just be a 10th faster than provisional pole is right now. The other one, quite a 27.6. Can anyone dip into the 27s? And not just scrape into the 27s, that's quite some way into the 27s. .28.6, 28.9, 0.3 of a second. That would be the biggest gap we've seen for the front row in Season 6. Drivers still looking to do lap times. There's 6 of them. Brands, Midas, Big T, the pair of Mercedes, Don Rabico and Django, as well as Welsh in the second, Aston Martin, all looking to get those first lap times on the board. Be crucial for Mercedes-Benz to get up the field. They are obviously in the constructors' fight with Alpine, and Alpine having a much better night so far. P2 and P3. Another prediction for pole in the 27s. Got a prediction for a 27.6 and I've got a prediction for a 27.9. If we're going to see a 27, maybe it'll just be a scrape into the 27s. Andre believes it'll be a little bit more towards the mid 27s. If someone is going to be getting into the 127s tonight, this will be one of the favourites. Weeze in one of the Alpines. Paul Ricard obviously falling off the calendar in recent years. Was initially upgraded purely to be a F1 test circuit. And that's why the circuit Paul Ricard has not only one or two or even three. In fact, it has 5 FIA Grade 1 layouts, different layouts, all certified to hold Grand Prix racing. If I'm not mistaken, Bahrain has 3 Grade 1 layouts. The GP circuit, they have the endurance circuit, and now they have the outer loop. Mango currently on provisional pole, a 28.6. Guys in the comment section predicting 27s, but nobody's really close to that at the moment. It's Ferrari in the first of the 2 McLarens, his teammate down in P9. It's Ferrari in 5th position. It's Ferrari in a sandwich between the AlphaTauris of Afro and Simps. Times at the front relatively close. But like I said, round 1, round 2, front row was just separated by 0.08 of a second. So this would be the biggest gap we've seen at the front. It would be the biggest qualifying dominance of the season. Tiago just taking the shortcut. In fact, the first time they had the F1 race around this current circuit, a lot of complaints came in about the chicane, to the point where they decided that for the second race the next year, the chicane would be removed. But then the chicane was never removed because it was determined that most of the overtaking had happened into that chicane. So they decided to keep it. Would be a really impressive straight if you had to take that chicane out of the equation. The 2 Williams down in P12, P13. Mango in the pits, Weeze is on an outlap, Cheddar P3, Afro P4. Look at these times. 0.4 of a second, cover your top 4. Got It's Ferrari P5. Track relatively quiet right now. Neil on a fast lap, Big T on an outlap. Got the pair of Williams also on fast laps. Neil improves, goes up to P5 for the 29.0. Still far from some of the predicted lap times. I said if someone's going to do it, this will be one of the favourites to do it. Winner of round 2, Weeze in the Alpine, leaders of the Constructors' Championship. Great start to the season. They'll be hoping to maintain that here in France. We have Don Rabico. It's going over the line. And it's a 28.999, almost a 29 flat. So 0.3 of a second away from where he'd like to be. And surely there will be more pace to come in the final run. It's Midas taking a shortcut and not even slowing down. Wheeze is on that attempt of a second fast lap. Wants to go as wide as he can before turning into the chicane. Nicely done. Don't want to take too much of that outside curb. You could invalidate the lap. Remember, you can invalidate the lap on the inside curb just as much as you can on the outside curb. You've got to stay within these track limits. And with this track just being so open with so much runoff area, sometimes it's just so easy to drift wide. And that'll be the end of that for your lap time. We're riding now with Wheeze. He's currently in P2 with a 28.9. He hasn't pulled into the pits, so he definitely sees an improvement. He goes over the line. And he's gone 0.2 faster in Sector 3, but he hasn't been able... He has improved, sorry. My timing screen was a little late there. 28.7. So he's improved. But where he was 0.3 off, now he's a 1/10 off. So he hasn't improved by as much as he would have liked. Etienne saying he can get a 29.5 in time trial. Well, I don't even think I'd get into the 31s if that's the case. There's a familiar name I haven't spoken about just yet. The second Alfa Romeo. His teammates just retired from the session. Not Shumi, currently P19. I wonder where he got the idea for that name. Just remember, not Fernando was the first. Mango still P1. Where is that second Alfa Romeo? He was on a fast lap. Currently a 130.3 is his best. Only good enough for P19. He's going to start on the final row of the grid. Cheddar also out on a final attempt. See everyone in the comment section just putting down their time trial times and then for some reason adding a second. I don't believe you guys are doing 29s. Probably all in the 28s. Here we go, here's Cheddar. So there's a few more corners to deal with. What can he do? 28.9, currently P4. Is he going to improve? And by how much? Stays 28.9, stays P4. During all that action we missed Simps. Simps went P2, demoted Weaves to P3, demoted him to the second row. And that seems like the largest gap we've had in qualifying in Season 6. Mango takes pole. Simps makes up the front row. Absolutely, just commenting on the lobby. This is some really crazy stuff. You can get a really impressive lap time and it's good enough for the final row of the grid. So there are your official results, and there's 20 drivers, so I've got to get through them quickly. Mango takes pole position, Simps P2, then the pair of Alpines, Wheeze and Cheddar in P3 and 4. Then we've got Don Rabico P5, Afro P6, Neil P7, Microstatic P8, Brands P9, and it's Ferree making up the top 10. Big T 11, Django 12, Tiago P13, Windsor's 14, Buffelsfontein 15, Notshumi 16, Shark 17, Midas 18, and then the final row of the grid, Mr. M and Welsh. And that was fun. But now, it's time for the real thing. This is what the points are all about. It's about the race. It's great to get that quali lap. It's great to get that pole position. But it's really all about the race. Races win you championships, not quali. Also remember that sometimes race pace translates differently from qualifying pace. Not quite the same going out there and having one blistering lap as having to manage your tyres over a period of time. No weather to be concerned of, so it should be. What are you guys saying in the comment section? A 1-stop? A 2-stop? I agree with Etienne on the saying penalties are going to have a big say in this race, and I definitely believe penalties are going to have a big say, especially here in France. Like I say, track is so wide in places. See guys going 3 wide sometimes, 5 lights. And we're underway. Haas leads the way from an AlphaTauri. Ooh, aggressive move there to defend. And the Haas is going to lead the way. Simps P2. Alpines 3 and 4. Seems like everybody's safely through the first sequence of corners. Don Rabico P5 behind the 2 Alpines. Simps P2, Mango leads the way, as he did from pole position. Remember, round 1, round 2, your pole sitter went on to win the race. I'm not sure what happened there, if that was a glitch. We just saw the car seem to ghost briefly. Simps leads the way now. Mango P2. We have a caution, just having a look at the circuit. Seems like everybody is on the move. And look at these 2 Alpines. Ooh, wow, we've had an incident. We've had a big incident. We've had a big incident. We had an Alpine, and I believe it was an AlphaTauri. And I thought things were getting a little busy into that corner. And a virtual safety car is the result. 5-second penalty for Buffelsfontein for a collision with Welsh. And Cheddar chooses to come into the pits under the virtual safety car. That gives Mango back the lead of the race. Cheddar had wing damage. So both Alpines, as a result of that incident, obviously Wheeze coming off worse. But now Cheddar as well having to make a pit stop for a wing change. So both Alpines badly affected by that incident. And now Mango, he's been re-handed the lead of the race. And Don Rabico has just had that roadblock of Alpines removed. Don Rabico up into P2, and that's how quickly things can change. Pantry Star saying safety cars galore. It's lap 2. We haven't seen one yet. Jumping around. We just saw it again. Just a quick flicker. Hopefully that doesn't make things difficult for the drivers around him. Hopefully it's just something that's happening on the stream and not something that's happening for the drivers. Let's see if we can ride on board with Don Rabico currently in P2. Just have a look at that horse. Don Rabico sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:32.9, and I probably couldn't even do that in qualifying. He is getting closer. 0.8 of a second is the gap between P1 and P2. This is lap 3, so DRS will come into effect shortly. And when that does happen, the race is going to get even more exciting. You have a look at that. We've got 7 manufacturers in the top 7. That is... Obviously we had the 2 Alpines, we had the 2 AlphaTauris. All 4 drivers doing really well. Then we had that collision. Took an AlphaTauri and 2 of the Alpines with it. And now Mango leads the way. Don Rabico has lost a position. He's lost a position to the other AlphaTauri of Afro. So now we have Mango, Afro and Don Rabico making up the top 3. Neil staying within touching distance, staying within DRS. DRS is so crucial because remember, you can be a 10th or 2 slower than the guy ahead of you. If you have DRS, you can stay with him. If you don't, he simply pulls away. That's the difference between staying within DRS and not. You may not be making a pass on him, but he is towing you around. The AlphaTauri of Afro, currently in P2. Cheddar just goes over the line and sets the fastest lap of the race. He's down in P18. Just bringing up your tires situation so everyone can have a look what's happening out on track. Seems like Morgan and Afro are on the same strategy. They've started on a set of hard tires, so looking to go deep into the race, your 2 leaders. And they're exactly where they'd like to be. They're in the lead. But Don Rabico, he is on a different strategy. He's starting on mediums. That means he should have the superior grip and the superior traction at this stage. And he needs to make full use of those benefits to get past Afro while he can. Remember, those hard tires will go longer into the race. Those mediums will drop off before that happens. So Don Rabico needs to make the most of these tires while they're off, while they are fresh, before they drop off. And now he's going to go for the move. Looked like he was going to go for the move. Just thought better of it. He's got a Ferrari on his gearbox to worry about as well. Was riding on board for quite some time. They even forgot to look what was happening behind him. Now a little bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Back to Vettel Hamilton days there for a moment. But seems like the Ferrari has come off better after that, call it a tire rub. So Brand's up into P3. And while all of that action is happening for the fight for P3, it's allowed first and second place to get well up the road. Actually, just first place as well up the road. Brands is fighting for P2, and what a pass it was. Not only that, what driving it was. The AlphaTauri had to leave enough space for there not to be a collision, and both drivers did their part. And Brands doing what he needs to on that set of mediums. This is what Don Rabico needs to be doing. He needs to be using that superior grip in the early stages of the race. Obviously he was trying to get that job done. Then he had a little touch with the Ferrari. Lost a little bit of momentum. He's now in P4 trying to regain that momentum. Chasing down the AlphaTauri of Afro. Brands was able to make the pass and get into P2. Now he's going to have to embark on catching that Haas, which has been able to build up a mighty advantage, 3.5 seconds just on lap 6. We haven't had any safety car, just the one virtual safety car for about half a lap. And we still have 20 runners in the field. Mango leads the way. The gap is 3.6 seconds. And Afro now coming back at the Ferrari. Tries to go around the outside. Ferrari holds its nerve. It says, if you're going to pass me, you're going to have to try again. Not this time round. Brands holds on to P2, and quite a queue has formed behind that Ferrari now. Last thing you want is for the car in the front to make a mistake, and for everyone in that queue to follow into him. I have witnessed the end of a very exciting DRS train that ended in exactly that manner. About 5 cars, wing to gearbox. The guy in front made an error, went sideways, and 4 of those 5 cars retired immediately. Gap at the front is increasing, so Brands is not really able to make an impact on this lead. 3.7, now 3.8. So Mango just chipping away. And the guys further back in the field will be hoping for a safety car just to neutralize Mango's pace for a little bit. Microstatic. Very different strategy from everybody else out on circuit. He is the only car out of all 20 runners to be running a set of softs. So he should be having amazing grip right now. But on the other hand, those tires will be the first ones on track to drop off completely. There we go, comes into the pits to get rid of those softs. It's a gamble you take, and sometimes it can work out perfectly. You take those softs, get an early safety car, and you're able to get rid of the softs, have a free pit stop. But when you don't have an early safety car, you find yourself coming in early, and if the field is close, to the bottom of the field. Mango still leads. Brands P2. It's not a comfortable P2. Afro's still on his tail. Don Rabico P4. He's got himself stuck in a DRS train. And we know those can be quite difficult to get out of. If the car in front of you has the same advantage you have, well, then it's no longer an advantage. Two Alfa Romeos having two very different races. Neil is in P5. He's one of the cars at the heart of this DRS battle. There we go, Afro retakes second place. Now I wonder if that might have something to do with the batteries, suggesting by that telemetry, I would say Brands was holding on to that lead, trying to break DRS, using all the battery he had. And now, unfortunately, he finds himself in the position of having to try and charge that battery. He's got DRS. And he gets through before turn 1. And we're having an absolute juggle for P2. It's Brands, then it's Afro, and Don Rabico and Neil follow in P4 and 5. As well as Big T in P6. Just stuck in this DRS train. But remember, you need to be close enough to capitalize on a mistake, but not close enough to become part of it. Afro, with the help of DRS, gets back past. Not much of a defense from the Ferrari though. I think he saw the writing on the wall that time round. You can see the battery levels on your screen. I'm just not going to mention them out loud. Some of the drivers may be listening to the stream, and I don't want to give anybody any advantages or any information they should not have. You, the viewers, you can see the screen. You can see it. I'm just not going to actually say what the number is. Brands starting to fall off now. Remember, he was in the front of this DRS train for a long time, traded places with Afro for 3 or 4 laps. But now he's dropped behind Afro, and not only that, he's dropped behind Don Rabico, who's come up into 3rd place. But now he's coming under pressure from the Ferrari. He wants to chase the Alfa Romeo, but he needs to shake off the Ferrari. Not Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri. Good thing is, in 2024, we'll lose some of these teams that all decided to start their team name with an A. It gets confusing from time to time. AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, Aston Martin. It's just too many teams starting with an A. Obviously, AlphaTauri will be no more. Visa Cash App RB Racing Team, quite the mouthful. I'll just be calling it the RBs. A lot of money in that deal. Red Bull basically telling Visa, give us a huge sponsorship deal over both teams and we'll let you name the junior team. And that's basically what happened. There will be Visa sponsorship on both cars. Just more prominent Visa sponsorship on the former AlphaTauri. Don Rabico. He has 10 lap old mediums. Mango in front of him has 10 lap old hards. Remember, Mango is going to be able to go deeper into this race. Guys, in the comment section, give me an idea. When can we expect to see the medium runners? At least the medium runners that started on the medium tire. When can we expect to see them come in? 13, 14 laps. Mango leads the way. He's all by himself out there, 4.6 seconds. Don Rabico's P2, but he hasn't been able to secure that comfortably. And as you can see, he's having to fight the AlphaTauri. They're going side by side from one corner into the next. And Afro comes out on top for now. Rabico losing a bit of momentum and falling almost into the trap of the Ferrari. That's how quickly it happens. You lose one position, next thing you know, you're trying to get your momentum back, and you can lose a second. Andre saying around lap 13 to 15, that would be the pit window. So I think we can expect to see the likes of Don Rabico, Brands and Big T place 3, 4 and 5. They should be coming in shortly. 3-second time penalty coming up for Simps. Simps has now 2 penalties, so that's up to 6 seconds, and Microstatic also has a 3-second penalty. So the penalties column is still quite clean at this stage of the race, and the drivers will be hoping to keep it that way. I mean, those 6 seconds worth of penalties, do you have any idea what you have to do on circuit to basically void those 6 seconds? In a field this close, it's impossible. Don Rabico, we said he'd be coming in soon, and there we go. Slowed down very abruptly there. Thought we might see a penalty pop up, but luckily for him, got it slowed down. Don Rabico into the pits. Now this might be beneficial. He's the first car to come in. He was in a DRS train, and obviously that DRS train does hold you up when you're trying to defend from cars every DRS zone. Now, depending on where he comes out, might have a bit of clean air, and that'll allow him just to open up, use all of the racetrack, and string some lap times together, while the guys he was competing against in the DRS train continue to battle each other on aging mediums. And you might just find that that undercut works out perfectly. As far as the leader, he's on a different strategy altogether. He's 6 seconds up the road and on a set of hards. So not only is he pulling away from the field, he's pulling away from the field on the hardest set of tyres. Which means in the second stint of the race, he will have the quicker tyre. Don Rabico, Andre just confirming, Rabico trying the undercut. And you know, I think this might just work for him as these cars continue to battle within that DRS train. Look at that, he's got clean air in front of him for the next 3.5 seconds. So he can really just put together some good lap times consistently over the next few laps, and by the time the rest of these guys decide to pit, they may have lost a substantial amount of time. So Rabico is the first one to jump, and surely we'll see Brands this time around diving into the pits. He's also on a set of mediums, and Afro has just gone past him. Another Ferrari-powered car in the top 4, the Alfa Romeo, Neil. 3 Ferrari-powered cars in the top 4. Wouldn't Ferrari love that? Big T. He's doing a good job, but he's just been at the back of this DRS train for too long. DRS was obviously introduced to F1 to assist passing, and it does a fantastic job, does what it was intended to do. But when we get to these DRS trains, if the car in front of you has the same thing, then you're not going to be making up much ground. You have to rely on your ERS, and once your ERS is empty, you just got to hope for the best. Shark has rejoined the lobby, so that suggests he was out. We didn't even see he was out. Speaking of the Williams team, there's the other Williams. So Jacques having trouble staying in the lobby, and his teammate down in P20. Williams will be having some flashbacks to a few seasons ago. Afro leads the way, Brand Speed 2, both of them into the pits. Oh, and almost contact. Almost contact between the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri in the pit lane. That would have caused some controversy. And Big T finally released from the back of that massive DRS train. He's going to have clean air for a lap or two, all depending on when he decides to pit. It's going to take around 20 to 23 seconds to get in and out of the pits. And this field is really close together, so going to lose a lot of positions if you've left this a little too late. And Big T is going to be the last of the runners to pit on that medium set of tires. So he's taken it deep, maybe thinking of finishing on the soft. I think that could be a potential strategy here for Big T, taking those mediums a lap or two longer than we expected, so that he can finish on the soft. For the time being, Big T's lead is comfortable, 9.8 seconds, but remember, he still needs to pit. Now Mango gets up into P2. He is 9 seconds adrift from the leader, but remember, Mango has made a pit stop, Big T has not, and Big T, interestingly, stays out for another lap. I think this is definitely a stretch for softs. Mango sets the fastest lap of the race at 31.2. Those times will continue to come down as the cars get lighter, dropping fuel every lap. Sims picks up another 3-second time penalty. I think that will put him up at 9. There we go. 9 seconds. Microstatic, Brands and It's Midas also have 3 seconds apiece. Big T, I think he has left this too late. Look at that. The gap just a lap ago was 9.5 seconds. It's now barely 6.5 seconds. So Big T losing quite a lot of time. He's going to have to come in and pit. Thiago joins the penalty column. Definitely Pantry Star just mentioning all 20 drivers still on track. Lap 17 of 27, and that is extremely impressive. Whenever you get a full grid, you expect safety cars, you expect incidents, you expect drama. But the only drama we've had on track have been in the corners, in the passing maneuvers. We've had 1 or 2 collisions. We had an interesting one earlier on, which I will reserve all judgment. I'll let that go to the stewards if necessary. But in the early stages of this race, it was looking like an Alpine double podium in the bag. And as you can see, the fortunes changed very quickly for that Alpine team, currently leading the Constructors' Championship, but that will all change unless they're able to change things very, very quickly. Mango leads the way, 9 seconds is the gap. Brands P2, Afro P3, Don Rabico. He's out there in P4. He's got a hard set of tyres. Everyone in front of him is on a softer compound. So if he wants to get himself up onto the podium, he's going to have to do some serious driving. And he's not just going up against any 3 drivers, he's going up against 3 of the fastest drivers this league has to offer. So if Don Rabico wants to get on that podium, his job is only starting now. Buffelsfontein at the rear of the field. Mr. Rem, P19 in the second Ferrari, Welsh. 18 minus 17. And Wees, winner of round 2, down in P16. Driver that's had a very consistent race. He's held station really well. Hasn't really been at the front. Hasn't looked like he was going to lead the race at any point. But he's just held stable. He's been there in 5th place in the Alfa Romeo. And if anything happens in front of him, a good result is on the cards. We have a penalty up front. I missed that. Brands has a penalty. In fact, he has more than one penalty. He has 6 seconds worth of penalties. And when you're at the front of the field, that can dramatically change the result. And in some cases, it can steal that podium right away from you. So Brands is in P2 and he'll be very happy with that position, but he'll know if he wants to keep that P2, he needs to somehow find 6 seconds in the next 8 laps. Quali lap after quali lap, and now Don Rabico loses a position. Winner of round 1. Hasn't really come to terms with the Paul Ricard circuit. Been in the top 5 throughout the evening. Just hasn't really been able to have that extra step. It's been all about Mango today. And if things continue, if things were to end right now, that would mean that for the 3rd time in 3 rounds, the pole sitter has gone on to win the race. And that would be 3 different pole sitters and 3 different winners in 3 rounds. Also 3 manufacturers in 3 rounds. So Alpine had that early advantage in the Constructors' Championship. Now they're trying to recover. Cheddar has actually just got himself back up into the points. He's in P9 and he's got another position. He's up into P8. So Cheddar is on the move, trying to recover some points for Alpine on the evening, on a night that definitely did not go the way they had planned. Here's his teammate P12. And he's approaching the gearbox of Simps. So both Alpines can still potentially get into the points and minimize the damage of the evening. But for now, Mango is about to break the double digits. 9.9 seconds is the gap. And just as I say that, the gap starts to come down just a little. That's a commentator's curse. It doesn't always work against drivers, sometimes it works against me. There we go, double digits. 10 seconds is the gap between Mango and Afro. And Afro Still defending P2. Brand's P3, but remember that penalty. Our maths isn't too great, but I think if things ended now, that would put him in 5th place. He would lose that podium position to Neil. But he's coming back. He's coming back at Afro. Has not given up on that P2. I think he'll know the penalties are there, but at this stage it's just about pride. You want to win it on the track. You know it's not going to look that way on the timesheets. But getting back past always feels great. Seems like Brands is just starting to fall off a little. And the gap still 10 seconds at the front. Don't think that's going to change too much in the next 6 laps. Rabico, P5. Remember, he's ending this race on the hard compound, so he's going to have the least amount of grip compared to these drivers around him. Big T. Similar strategy to Brands also. Leaving the soft tyres till the end. He's only got 4 laps on those soft tyres, so those soft tyres very fresh. And now Don Rabico will appear in front of him. And he'll be thinking 5th place is very possible. We have our first retirement. We have our first retirement of the evening. Let's see if we can catch a glimpse. Mr. M goes past. Was that? Maybe it was just a retirement in the pits. We didn't see the car. And oh, look at this. This has really mixed things up. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Django, DNF. And it seems like he retired in the pits. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But luckily no safety car. I think Mango would have been absolutely praying there wouldn't be a safety car. Imagine cancelling out this gap. And then you're going to have someone on fresher tyres behind you. Might give some Lewis Hamilton fans PTSD. Safety car, soft tyres behind you. Doesn't usually end well. But as far as Mango goes, he's still growing the gap at this late stage. So it doesn't seem like those tyres are dropping off at all. Brand's the only one there in the top 3 on a soft set. It seems like he's not going to be able to cancel out those 6 seconds. If things were to end now, he'd be either 5th or 6th. It's pretty touch and go. And I think that's why he's still fighting so hard to get in front of Afro. He needs to make up every single second that he can. Could be the difference between 3rd and 5th place. Your leader though, well, he's having a Sunday drive on a Monday night. Afro, he's having a fantastic race, but what a race it could have been. Remember, this man had wing damage early on in the race. Sorry, it was the Alpine that had wing damage, but Afro has done fantastic. He stayed there within the top of the field, and he's really brought things together oh so nicely at the end. Doesn't matter where you are throughout the race, only matters where you are at the end of the race. And Afro is in a comfortable P2. There's a Ferrari behind him that looks menacing, but he's got a whole handful of penalties, so he doesn't need to worry too much about that Ferrari. In fact, He'd probably like to keep the Ferrari there as a buffer between him and Neil. Just securing. Just having a look if we can see an incident. Seems like Simps has retired from the session. Just looking to see if we can see a car on the side of the track. It's Ferrari, should be the next car to go past the site. And there we go. I don't see anything, but Simps has retired from the race. And it's going 20 drivers so far into this race. We've suddenly lost 2 drivers in a matter of laps. It's lap 24 of 27, still 18 drivers out on track. I assure you, there are no slow drivers in this field. And even if you are right at the back of this field, you probably don't deserve to be there. In a lot of other leagues, you'd be up in the top 5. Such a close field. And I think just the 2 retirements on lap 25 also bodes well for the quality of driving. Afro running awfully wide there. He's got to be careful. Doesn't want to pick up a penalty this late on in the race. Won't make too much of a difference because Brands has 6 seconds and he's behind him. Jacques picks up a penalty. So some penalties now popping up late in the race. Mango up to 11 seconds. Just nobody has been able to challenge the horse. And for a race that I thought we were going to get a whole handful of safety cars, we've had none. And at this late stage of the race, we're not going to have any. That is also the reason why this race has worked out so perfectly for Mango. Remember, if you have a safety car every now and then, it's impossible to build up this sort of a gap. If you're just getting pulled back into the pack every few laps. But since there's been no safety cars, he's just been able to go out there, do lap after lap, while everyone behind him was in some sort of a battle. He was able to drive off into the distance in peace. So remember, it's not that easy to just drive out in front. You've got to keep your concentration, and when there's absolutely no one around you, it's so easy to lose that concentration and for everything to just go wrong in a moment. But at least for tonight, at least for round 3, the lead horse driver, leader of the race, he's given you the perfect example of what you need to do. Kept it simple, just the one pit stop, led from pole, and he will become the 3rd driver in 3 rounds, or the 3rd different driver in 3 rounds to win from pole. So far in Season 6, pole position has proved to be crucial to the race result. Winner of race 1, down in 6th place. Winner of race 2, down in 12th place. Lap 27 of 27. Mango going into the chicane for the final time. And what a job he's done. Afro is going to score an easy 2nd place. Just needs to keep the car in a straight line for the next couple of corners. But as for your leader, he's done everything he needed to do. We saw his car jumping around a little bit in the beginning of the stream, but seems to have stabilized. And there we go, a little wiggle before the start finish line. And Mango wins round 3 at the circuit Paul Ricard. Afro follows shortly thereafter, goes over the line in P2. Brands will lose a few positions, goes over the line in P3. Just loses the 1 position, luckily for him. Brands ends up in P4. Has to hand the final podium position to the Alfa Romeo. Neil will take P3. Second Haas driver wins it over the line. Winner of round 2. Over the line in P12. Outside the points. He'll be hoping for a better return next week. Of course, next week we go to a very different racetrack from Paul Ricard. We go to Silverstone. Silverstone, the favourite of a lot of drivers. And what a race it was. Started with 20 drivers, we finished with 18, we had no safety cars. And not Shumi, driver of the day. We now await the official results. And there we go, Mango winning the race from pole position, as the 2 winners in round 1 and 2 did before him. Then Afro P2, Neil P3, Brands losing out due to penalties. He gets demoted to P4. Rabico P5, where he started. Then Big T in 6th, Microstatic 7th, Cheddar P8, Windsors 9, and Tiago Maestro makes up the points paying positions. Not in the points tonight. Winner of round 2, Wheeze, driver of the day, not Shumi, 11th and 12th. Shark P13, Mr. Rem Mr. Rem 14, Welsh 15, It's Midas 16, It's Faris 17, and Buffelsfontein. He makes up your field this evening. DNFs for Simps and Django. We had a busy stream this evening, we had a busy comment section, and we had a very exciting race. I want to thank everybody who joined us here this evening, and I hope to see you again on Wednesday night and next week again. Thank you so much for joining the stream. I hope you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you on Wednesday night. Thanks for joining. Cheers, guys.